Welcome to Dare to Be Seen, brought to you by Alyssa Vulpez Productions and EDN Publishing. Join our host, Alyssa DiNapoli, aka Alyssa Vulpez, author, artist coach, hypnotherapist, singer-songwriter, and drummer, as she engages in down-to-earth, insightful, and inspiring conversations with female indie singer-songwriters around a virtual campfire. We shall discuss the lessons, songs, and personal stories of women who dare to be seen, scratching beneath the surface to give you an insider look into what makes their chosen career sometimes challenging and yet always inescapably compelling. So let's get the show started.
Welcome to another episode of Dare to Be Seen. I'm your host, Elisa Di Napoli, aka Elisa Vulpes, and today's episode features Elaine Ryan. Elaine is a singer-songwriter based in San Francisco, born in Ireland and raised in Vancouver. She has toured Canada, the US, and she performs regularly as a soloist and occasionally plays with a full band. She writes at least one song a week, often over Zoom with one of several co-writers that she works with. Check out her newest releases, Beautiful and Imagine, on Spotify or Apple Music. Now, before we meet our guest for today, I would like to invite you to go to tinyurl.com/podfreebies, and you will be able to download for free my Limiting Beliefs Buster worksheet, where you will discover how to let go of disempowering beliefs about your abilities as a performer so you can unleash your inner superstar. And now, here's our guest for today.
Find the way that you can serve in a small way, and that you can help others doing the thing that feels good or feels like your path, you know?
You were born a fighter, but you can rest your hand and let your heart get lighter with every tear you shed. You're all the colors of the rainbow.
I spent a lot of time being afraid that I was not doing the right thing, that I needed to be doing something that gave me more social status.
You shine a little light and lead the way, and it doesn't matter what they say, 'cause you're the face of courage. You're the bravest of the brave in your
You want to feel important, you know, you want people to think that you're important.
beautiful. Hey, so beautiful. Don't have to try for perfect. It's what you'll always be. So much beneath the surface. Can you set it free? You're all the colors of the rainbow.
So let's welcome to the show today Elaine Ryan, born in Ireland and raised in Vancouver, as you heard in the introduction. But now she's joining us from a place near San Francisco. I'm sure I would pronounce that wrong. So can you tell us where you're calling from?
San Mateo.
San Mateo. Actually, that's not that difficult. What am I talking about? So, I am so curious about your background. As you know, or you may or may not know, I'm also quite international, born in Italy, lived in New Zealand, now calling from Scotland. So, what is it like now being in San Francisco, just at the moment with the chaos that's happening in the world?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's funny. I think that when you're wherever you are, you think like, oh, if I could just escape where I am and go somewhere else, then it would be better. But um, I'm not sure that it would. I mean, the United States is kind of a train wreck right now. But San Francisco and the Bay Area, like the area around San Francisco, is fairly well managed and coordinated. We have good mayors. So you know, I guess I don't know. I can't compare it too much to other places. I know they have more of a grip on things in Canada. Um, but you know, I guess like last week or the week before, it was a bit it felt oppressive because we had these really dark red skies for a while because of those really big forest fires happening all through California, and so it was sort of like you can't go outside because it's too smoky, and then so you're kind of stuck in your house.
Yeah.
It was a bit much, but like I'm not sure that it's harder than most places. I haven't really seen many people since March, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I can relate about being in a different country and wishing, oh, maybe if I was there, things would be different. But I think, nah, not really. Not really. Does your heart belong to a specific place more than others, or are you truly a child of the world?
I've since moving to the Bay Area, I've really found like a sense of belonging here that I haven't found in a lot of places. I feel like I've always been a bit of a wanderer, and I'm not sure if it's just that my personality is a little bit more independent, or that I grew up in a few different places, but I haven't been one to find like a social niche and have a really big group. I've always been the type of person to have um, solid friendships in different groups.
Yeah.
And I've just found here, especially with the music community, more of a sense like of community among musicians particularly than I have found in other places. So I'm happy here now. British Columbia is really beautiful. Ireland is lovely, but I feel at peace here. I did live in Maui, Hawaii for 7 years as well. So
Wow. My God. I'm not going to ask you what that was like. I bet it's very different from all these places that you have described. One thing I wanted to ask you, because I was listening to your Spotify and I noticed that your music is quite changed during the last 10 years. So, can you tell me a little bit about that? Because your latest release is really different in terms of the genre and what you're talking about. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
they're the two, Imagine and Beautiful, are much more like R&B pop. And the my previous record was more, I guess, indie pop, adult contemporary kind of
Mhm.
feeling. Um, so part of what's going on there is that I moved. Like I've always loved R&B and soul music, and never could quite figure out how to write in that genre, or I felt kind of blocked around it. And then moving to San Francisco, there's this really big scene here. Um, and so I went to a lot of jams, kind of like a couple times a month I would go and sing with these amazing like jazz soul musicians, and I think that really put my head into the frame of that music and gave me the confidence to try to write in that style. And then I ended up taking a course on songwriting and music licensing, and through that course I met a lot of different people that I ended up co-writing with, some of who were R&B singers and writers, and I kind of learned from them how to write in that style. And so one of my releases, Imagine, is co-written with an R&B singer, Brittany Davis. She's in Toronto. Yeah, and also it's a lot of how your song ends up sounding depends on the producer you choose.
Mhm.
So the producer that I was working with on those two songs has like a very pop R&B sensibility. So
Okay, yeah. Now I want to ask you a lot more about co-writing, but before we go there, I want to ask you a question going back in time. So, how did your love for making music actually surface in your life? What got you into making music?
I mean, I've loved it since I was a kid. I remember I got $50 from my grandmother when I was 5 or 6, which I saved away, and then I got $1 a week for allowance. So, I saved for several weeks and went to Radio Shack and bought myself a tape recorder.
Awesome.
And then, like, one of the most fun things for me to do was to like record me singing little songs. So I've always loved singing. And then, when I was 5 or 6 or 7, 6 or 7 must have been, I started writing little songs. So yeah, it's something that I've always loved, and has always been a part of me. And then I think for a while there, I thought that it was like selfish to become an artist. When I was in university, I studied international development, and wanted to do something in the humanitarian realm,
Mm.
human rights law or international development, but I always loved music. And I got to a stage in life where I was having a really hard time emotionally, and music was kind of the only thing that felt like something that I really wanted to put my energy into, and I ended up just going in that direction and following that, and realizing that there's plenty of people who want to have a career in humanitarian work, and I was just opening the door for them to take my spot.
Wow, I've never heard someone actually ask that question. Is it selfish to become an artist? It would have never occurred to me because, in a way, you are a conduit, if you like. That's the way I look at it, for a message or something that's bigger than you. I mean, even if you write just about yourself, sometimes the specificity can be quite universal and can help someone else, especially if you're channeling your emotions and what you're going through through your music.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the idea that it's selfish to be an artist was something that it was the younger version of myself. I think maybe, well, when I was young at least, I had ideas that I wanted to change the world in really big, concrete ways.
Yeah.
And I think, as I get older, I realize that, there's billions of people on the planet, and I think it's much better to do the thing that you're good at, or just find the way that you can serve in a small way, um, and that you can help others doing the thing that feels good or feels like your path.
Yeah, playing to your strengths rather than your weaknesses. And I like this idea of finding the way that you can serve in a small way, because that small way, you never know what consequences might come of it. And in terms of your artistic practice, what's your creative process? How do you get into the writing process?
So that's something that's really changed for me in the last year. Um, when I started writing, I think I was younger and I had a lot of just emotional pain and stuff that I was dealing with. And I would just kind of write to try to process relationships, what I was going through. And then there came a time when, like, I felt really dry when I was living in Hawaii. I don't know if it was the weather or just that it wasn't cosmopolitan, it was very rural. I just felt really uninspired and like I couldn't find that well of creativity, and it was really hard. And then when I moved to the Bay Area, it became a bit more easy. And then really the thing that has like been revolutionary for me just since probably since a year ago, I started taking this course on music licensing, and I ended up joining a Facebook group called the Song Tribe. It's just a small Facebook group. There's about 50 of us. And the woman who runs it gives us a prompt every week. And it can be the prompt might just be the word silver or gold, or it might be dream, or it might be, what's other ones we've had? Storm, anything. So she'll just give us one word. And the rule is you need to write a song and the word needs to be in the song somewhere.
Mm.
So, even if the song is like, if the word is like future, you can write a song about the future, or you can just have a line that says, the one I wrote was just forget about the future.
Yeah.
How are you right now? And just having that, like we have to post our song in the Facebook group every week. So I have to write a song every week. So I've written like, I don't know, 35 songs since February, um, one a week because I'm good at doing my homework. So that's just been it's been really, really um amazing. And I've just realized like all that I need is one word and the pressure to write. And there's not really that much magic to it. Like there's not really like I need to be lighting candles and in this special space and feeling this certain way and meditating and stuff that I thought, because when you know that you're writing a song every single week, the song this week doesn't have to be amazing.
Yeah.
You'll be writing another one next week. So like it kind of unblocks you. You don't have to feel like this needs to be a masterpiece. You just feel like I just need to get this done by Sunday. So, yeah. And then a
Well,
lot of it turns out to be good work.
This is really inspiring me. A, because at the moment I feel a little bit blocked. B, because I've got a Facebook group, so I can use exactly the same idea and steal it. It's wonderful. And I'm like you. I'm a bit like that. I need to have the pressure. I actually respond well to deadlines, and having to do something and to show it to other people. I think that's actually quite important. And so you were mentioning co-writing with, was it with Zoom? Do you want to tell me a bit more about that?
Sure. First, let me just say one more thing about process.
Sure.
Another trick that I discovered was walking. I come up with a theme that I want to write a song about, and then I go for a walk with my phone, but not listening to podcasts or music on my phone. I just go for a walk, and I just find I don't know, stuff starts to come into your mind when you're distracted by walking. So
Love that. Well, I mean, scientifically, we do know that walking is one of the best forms of exercise and anti-stress. So that doesn't surprise me too much. And also, just being with yourself, a little bit of space without the distraction of other people can be very good.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I think I need to make a cup of tea and eat this thing and do the laundry.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always something to do, isn't there?
So yeah, so I started co-writing, I guess, maybe a year and a half ago. I just had a friend here in San Francisco who he was taking some time off to work on music, and we decided to meet once a week or so and start co-writing. We didn't really know what we were doing, and that lasted a little bit, and then he went back to his tech job, so that kind of fizzled out. Um, but then started taking this course. It's called Six Figure Songwriting, and it was through this woman, Kathy Heller. And basically, they were trying to teach us how to write with an eye to TV and film. And some of the things are like, make sure that you try to keep the themes broad. Like try to make it authentic, but maybe don't put in very personal details, like how you met at such and such a place on such and such a time, and her name was Michelle, and
Okay.
um but then one of the things they really emphasized was to co-write, because um just all of the pop songs on the radio that you hear, almost all of them are co-written these days, and it's sort of just like more than one mind comes up with something better. And I still do write some songs on my own, for sure. Um, Especially since I'm forced to write a song a week, and sometimes I don't have the bandwidth to like organize the co-write in time. But basically we just decide what the theme's going to be. Maybe it's from this song tribe, or maybe we're aiming to pitch a song to a particular TV show or film or music supervisor, and then we think, okay, let's write a song about like overcoming hardship. And then we both, sometimes if it goes ideally, we both, like, on a Google Doc, we share a Google Doc and we brainstorm various lyric ideas, or we sing some melody ideas into our phone on the voice memo, and then we bring that to a co-write session, keeping it loose, trying not to have built the whole song or anything, but come with some ideas, and then just sit down for a couple hours and try to hash out a verse and a chorus, like a song structure. And then sometimes we get finished in a couple hours, and then sometimes we say, okay, let's think about it and meet again in a week. And yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Wow, that sounds very interesting. And have you found that you didn't have much of a problem with this process, or were there any obstacles that you didn't expect?
um I think, like, one of the things is that it's really important, I think, if you want to try co-writing, to do it with a bunch of different people, because every interpersonal dynamic is different. Like, if there's two people in a co-write, in some situations there will be someone with like a stronger, like more dominant personality than mine, who wants to take the lead and um you know uh, say that it, kind of guide the process more. And then in others, I'm that person, and then again in others it's more just even. And so yeah, so it's important to try to find people who you're kind of like, um man, I was going to say simpatico with, but then I'm like, oh, she's Italian.
I know what you
She
mean, though.
does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's one of the main things. I guess, I mean, yeah, like there's some songs that I've written that are where I've written a verse and a chorus and the actual lyrics are quite close to my heart. And so I'm very careful about who I co-write with on a song like that because I want them to um kind of um honor the spirit in which it was written and not want to deconstruct it entirely.
Mhm.
Um so I guess the songs that I feel really close to, I maybe don't co-write with, or I only would co-write with maybe one or two people who I feel really trusting of, or who I feel are okay with like letting me run with the thing that's dear to my heart. Then other songs, like especially if we're writing a song with an end in mind, like thinking like, let's write a song that would work for this show or for
Right.
whatever. Um, then songwriting it becomes a bit more depersonalized. It becomes less about me and my issues. And it's more like, this is the song we want to write. What can I bring from my experience? What kind of true emotions can I bring from things in my life to infuse this song with, you know, kind of beauty or authenticity or inspiration.
Yeah, so it sounds like it becomes more like a job. You're a professional and you're doing the job of a professional. But how do you choose your co-writers? Have you ever worked, for example, with someone you didn't know? Must it be someone you know quite well?
No, so like, yeah, I met most of the people that I co-write with now. I met in this course. There was like 300 people in the course, and I just like they were in a Facebook group, and I looked up their stuff, and or one of them I met at a conference, and I just sort of looked up their Spotify or their website, and sort of took a look at what they had done already, and if I liked their style, and then I just sent them a Facebook message, and we were already in the group together, so I would just say, hey, do you want to try? Do you
Right.
want to try a co-write? And then, you give it a try, you see how it feels. And then if it works, you do it again. And then you end up like forging these new friendships with these people.
This sounds so good. I'm gonna try it. Definitely gonna try it. Especially in these times when, we can't really meet at gigs. We can't really, do it in an organic kind of way. This is the best next thing.
It's really cool. I mean, I find sometimes people feel busy and they don't want to like have a Zoom just to hang out. But if you have a task at hand, then there's always some hanging out part involved in that at the
Yeah,
beginning and the end. And so it
absolutely.
kind of is part of a social interaction for sure.
Yeah. So at the moment, how big a role does music play in your life? Is it filling it up completely, or is your time divided?
It's kind of 65% of my day.
Mhm.
My husband has a business that makes electronics for people who race sailboats, and they have like a factory in San Mateo, and they only have one worker, and because of the pandemic they can't hire anybody else. So
Mhm.
I'm already in the bubble. So I have been working there, and I'm kind of putting in a couple of hours a day doing that, and then the rest of the time is music slash life organization.
Yeah. A question that I always like to ask, which is a bit of a difficult question, but that's why I ask it to absolutely everybody that comes on the podcast, or almost everyone, is what does success really mean to you as a musician?
There's so many ways you can define success. And there's ways that I will say that I feel already successful. But I think I, right now, like before pre pandemic, I earned my living, my full living as a musician playing weddings and events. And that was, I feel lucky that that's something I've been able to do. But the majority of that is playing cover songs because it's weddings and yeah, corporate events,
Mm.
and people want to hear what they know, and like it's a business, and so you gotta give the people what they want. I think I would feel successful if I was able to make money off of my original compositions.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean that's the honest answer. I could give you some answer about as long as I get to write songs every week, I'm successful. And there's some truth in that. I feel let's maybe let's maybe separate happiness from success,
Okay.
right? I would say I am happy right now. Um, I love that I get to write a song a week, and I love that I get to co-write songs and get them produced and release them. It's absolutely my life's joy. I have gigs here and there, so I'm bringing in income that way. I'm helping my husband at his work. So I feel a sense of like purpose and fulfillment, and like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I have no doubt that I spent a lot of time being afraid that I was not doing the right thing, that I needed to be doing something that gave me more social status. I was always like, oh, should I go back and finish a master's degree? Should I write a book? I started like a web app to help people find live music that didn't end up working out too well, but helped people in Maui. And so I really wanted a sense of like, you know, you want to feel important. You want people to
Mhm.
think that you're important.
Yeah.
And I guess I grew up very academically inclined, and I could have gone the route of law school or master's, PhD, that kind of thing. And I chose to be an artist instead. And so sometimes I'm like, I want people to think I'm important.
Mhm.
But I've kind of like over time made peace with that. And the people who I really care about, um, they like me for who I am and what I do, and they don't need me to be important. But so yeah, so happiness, I feel I have it right now. Success in terms of like, if we're being honest, a sense of conventional success, I think I would feel more of that if I was able to earn more of my living from music that I, at least had a hand in writing.
Yeah, I can really relate to that, and I'm really impressed by your honesty, because a lot of people, aren't really honest. Maybe they just want to kind of across as looking good, I guess. I mean, I think it is normal to want to feel significant, but I think also that we are a bit conditioned. We're conditioned by the capitalist society that we live in, and that values things that are attached to money. And so if something isn't attached to money, then it's not important. And unfortunately, this just gets into our heads. I have to admit, I'm exactly the same. I wish I could get this idea out of my head, because it is very toxic. It doesn't help creativity at all. In fact, if anything, it hinders it. Yeah, so I admire your candid answer, and but at the same time, we all want to survive with the fruit of our labor, and there's nothing wrong with that either. You know, um, so that's so many questions I want to ask you. So let's start with the weddings. So do you enjoy doing this sort of work, even though it's covers?
I do. Yeah, I like it. I mean, you're making someone's day, and it's singing songs. It's nice.
That is lovely. I think it's probably better than singing in pubs. I've done the singing in pubs. I found that a little bit
Yes, for
challenging.
sure. Singing in pubs is rough because you're background music and nobody cares about
Yeah.
you. And
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, especially if you want to have this sense of significance, it really is a knocker.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, singing in pubs or busking, I think is maybe. I mean, busking like playing on the street for money, like with a band, is super fun because you just hang out with each other. But solo busking is like, it hurts your heart.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm so glad I found someone who understands that, because I could never do it. I tried to do it, and it was just crush me, and it was like, nah, I can't do this. I'm sure maybe I've got a really bad attitude, but
I mean, I did it out of necessity a few times. Once I went traveling to Europe and came back and like had run out of money and couldn't, the time that it takes to get a job, you still need 2 weeks to get the paycheck to come through. So I was like, I need money now.
yeah.
So I busked every day for about a month, and I made solid. I was able to pay rent, and but it does require a sort of, I don't know if it's like a thick skin. Like I don't even know if that's possible for me. I feel so like like I'm like a sensitive person, but
Yeah.
sometimes someone's nice. I had someone give me $100 once
Oh, wow.
during that period, which was like very uplifting.
Yeah, I think the maximum I got was £50, which actually back 20 years ago was quite a lot of money. I mean, it's still quite a lot of money now. And the funny thing is that I remember this because I was singing a song by John Baez, and the the person thought that I was singing like a Scottish song. It was quite silly. It was really weird, and I was dressed like a Scottish person because it was a bit of a gimmick, you know. So it's like, no, I'm Italian. I'm not Scottish, and I'm singing a song by John Baez. So the other question I wanted to ask you about is related to the songs that you are now making. For example, the last 35 songs, it's a lot of songs. What do you do with them? Do you just try to place them for syncing? Do you release them? What do you do?
Okay, so 35 songs are songs I've written, not songs I've recorded. Um, but what it does do is give me a lot of things to pull from. Like I basically tried to be recording a new song monthly.
Okay.
So that's just one a month. So then I will look back through what I have and pick something, or else sometimes I don't even use those songs that I've been writing. I start a new co-write with one of my co-writers, and yeah. So I pick one, and I guess um yeah, I mean, it depends on how the song turns out. Sometimes I'm not the singer, you know, sometimes, like, most of the time, if I am the singer on the song, then I'll release it. So I'll put it through DistroKid and get it in Spotify and Apple, and I'll promote it on Instagram for a couple days and then just let it be.
Right.
I do know people who like pay. There's certain services you can get to like get them put, like, you have to pay like $500 to like have it go on a bunch of different playlists, and so you can say, oh my god, I got
Really? Like,
thousands
does that
of
really
streams.
work?
It does. You can get your 5,000 streams if you pay to have them put on the various playlists. um but I guess I feel like I'd rather use the $500 to like record the next song.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just allow my numbers to be less than 1,000 on Spotify, and just move on with the next one, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. And in terms of recording, so do you have a producer that you work with? Do you work with different producers? Where do you find your producers? So three questions in one.
Uh Again, I mean, in the past, like like former albums, I all recorded those in Vancouver, and I found the producers through word of mouth. I would ask someone who produced their thing, and they told me, this guy, and the last, like, so my previous recording was in 2013, and then since then I've recorded, like, I don't know, 10 or 12 songs. Um and I think I'm singing on one, two, three, four, five of them. Um and I've released three. I'm about to release a fourth. Um, so of those, one producer who's super excellent is the boyfriend of a girl that I met in the course, and I just heard stuff he had done for her and was like, "This is epic. I love it." One of them is a friend of somebody else that I am a co-write with. She met him in Nashville, and his rate was pretty decent. So I did a couple songs with him, and then another guy who I worked with in the course. We've done a couple collaborations. So I think I've and then yeah, I think I've worked with like four producers since maybe since in the last year, and then there's two of them that I kind of now are my go-tos. Although I need to keep looking, I need to keep looking, but yeah, so kind of like I think, like, if that's just me, if I hadn't done this course and was looking for producers, then I would go on Facebook and look in um, Facebook groups. There's kind of like a bunch of different groups, like Make Pop Music, different kind of groups for producers,
Mhm.
or for people who are writing music. Um, I think a lot of people, I mean, there's great producers all over the world. There's a lot of great ones in LA and Nashville. And, I think it's just a matter of like listening to songs that they've done and seeing if it sounds like radio quality, and then yeah, then just testing it out, trying
Hmm.
or getting other people to recommend, or listening to other indie artists and seeing that you like, seeing who produced them
Yeah.
and getting their producer. Like it's yeah. I mean, obviously if they're famous, you can't afford the producer.
Yeah. And so these new songs, when are they coming out?
Okay, so Beautiful and Imagine and I Got This are already out. The When We're Together is coming out on in a couple weeks. Let me just see. I think it's October 9th or 16th. I can let's see. Let me just check the email real quick. Okay, When We're Together. Uh, oh, October 2nd. Okay. I better get my better get my Instagram post ready. Yeah. So, in a week. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited about that one. So, yeah, that's coming out in a week. Others that I've done, I don't know. I have to ask my co-writers if they're willing to release them. Like some songs, I created like a co-writing name called Moonlit Dare for songs that I'm not the singer on, but that the singer doesn't want to release under their name. Like
Mhm.
because they're trying to have their own personal brand um that's one way. Like for example, when this guy that I write with Von Faison, I think his own like style is a bit more um folk soul, like maybe more Leon Bridges or more John Mayer, that kind of is the I might be completely misrepresenting him, but that's what I think is the vibe that he feels like is close to his heart and what he wants to put out under his name. So one of the songs that I've written with him has been released as Moonlit Dare featuring Von Faison because he's the singer on it.
Mhm.
So I don't know. We may or may not release that. Yeah. So that's when I'm not sure when those songs are going to come out. Those are songs I've been pitching regularly. I send a bunch of emails every week to music supervisors and um, share the song and say, if
Yeah.
this is something that might be useful, here's the song.
And how's that been going? How long have you been doing that for, and how's it been going?
I have been doing that since probably February. I've been like pitching music and it's been great. I've had a lot of people um, say, this is like say that they like the song, that it's useful, and then like we're in the middle of a pandemic, so like nobody's making well, not nobody, but there are relatively few films, television, and ads being made right now.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm hoping that I end up, getting a license for something after, the vaccine. But yeah, I had a conversation, like a 30-minute conversation with a music supervisor in an ad agency yesterday, and I shared like 4 songs, and he told me that he would put them all on various playlists that he uses to pitch. So like it's not like, you interact with the music supervisor, but then like they will get, I don't know, like a beer company will come to them and say, "Hey, we're doing this ad and it's featuring like I don't know, like car racing along a track or something. We want a song that has like a real strong rock vibe with the word, freedom.
Hmm.
What do you have?"
Yeah.
So, and then they look through the stuff they have for that, send it to the client, and then that person decides. Same with TV shows. It's like, okay, it's a scene where, somebody's, I don't know, I don't know, they're driving off into the distance with their friend or whatever. Yeah, so, like, it's one of those things that's kind of a long game,
Hmm.
and it's about making as much, music as you can and then having it out there, and then also I have a few of my songs represented by, like, sync agencies, like, people who have relationships with all of these music supervisors already,
Hmm.
and so they, have signed the song for a year or 2, and then they get briefs from the music supervisor. So because they have those trusted relationships with them, the music supervisors, when they get one of these, like, we have a love scene, it requires like a slow pop song, or requires whatever that sounds like, or like an upbeat song that's a bit like in the Dua Lipa vibe. What do you have for that? Then that sync agency has its catalog and will look through and send them stuff. So yeah, I have a bunch of songs repped by a couple agencies. So yeah.
Right. So for the younger audience that is just getting into this, do you have any recommendations? Like if someone wanted to get into sync, what's the first port of call that you would suggest?
I would suggest taking a course, not necessarily the one I did, but there's a lot of different people doing online courses on music for sync licensing.
Mhm.
There's a bunch of free resources. Like I would just Google sync licensing course,
Mhm.
and there'll be a bunch of stuff that is like, take my 3-day free course, and then they'll upsell you onto the longer
Right.
course.
Right.
And a lot can be learned by doing all of everyone's free 3-day free course,
Mhm.
and then just keeping in mind that you don't have to panic and buy the longer course right now. You can do all of the free courses, and know that in 3 to 6 months time, the paid courses will all be offered again. So
Yeah.
yeah. Um so that's one of the things, like, you like learn the nuts and bolts of music licensing. It's sort of like what kinds of songs they need, how to walk that line between writing a song that's authentic, that doesn't sound like, I made this song for an ad,
Yeah.
or I'm kind of, doesn't sound cheesy. So like trying to find that line, in terms of songwriting. If I broke it down, I would there's like a few things. Number one is if you take the courses, you start to learn that it's possible, and you start to
Mhm.
learn that, like, this isn't a pipe dream. This is actually a way that you could make money. There's a certain amount of luck and timing involved, but it is something that if you put your energy into, um, you can make it happen. And then another key component is collaboration. Like, in order to get the songs made, you need to collaborate with producers for sure, and writers will definitely make your work better.
Mhm.
So that involves a network, and that is like, doing a paid course does get you the network, because there's usually like a Facebook group involved. But you can also go on Facebook, and there's lots of like pop music professionals, all these different groups. You can go in there, you can research people, you can say, hey, I'm wanting to co-write. Would you be interested in co-writing? And just like, a lot of it is just having the courage to reach out to people and not take offense if they ignore you. Because,
Yeah.
a lot of people are busy, or they just don't know who you are, so they don't want to. And then one thing I would say, for if you are reaching out to people, is really important that you include a link to your work. Like, include a link to your best couple of songs, so that they can see, like, you could be anyone. You could,
Yeah.
you could be someone who's never written a song in your life. Yeah, those are the things that I would recommend. Basically, really learn your stuff about sync licensing before you go and try to pitch songs, because I think one of the biggest things that I was confused about before is, like, I have 3 albums of songs that I wrote before I took this course, and I was like, I just need to find the people who need these songs I've written. And it wasn't really like that. Like, because number 1, they need the songs to be, like, fresh. So, like, generally recorded in the last 2 years with the kind of production values that are current.
Mhm.
So sounding like current pop or current folk or current whatever. Um, that's one. And then 2, the way that I was writing before just wasn't really conducive
Mhm.
to licensing. Like, a lot of what they need is songs with spaciousness, songs where the vocal can sit in the background and there can be dialogue happening over it.
Right.
Songs with long sections of oohs or la-las, or stuff that's not words but vocal stuff. Yeah. And then songs that are not about, like, it's very rare that they play songs, like, or they have a glut of songs about heartache.
Yeah.
Like, because everybody writes a song about their
All
heart being
right.
broken. They need songs that about, like, family love, home, happiness, freedom, feeling good, like swagger, feeling confident, like togetherness, overcoming, rising up. Like, these are the kind of things that they're always looking for. And so part of it is kind of training yourself to see how you can write a song like that and pick themes that still feel authentic for you,
Mhm.
and genres that still feel authentic for you, and just sort of trying to like navigate that.
Well, you're so knowledgeable about this, you could write your own course.
I'm just a nerdy student, so I just learned well in the last course.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say to that is that if you go and take a bunch of free courses, be prepared to have your inbox completely
Oh
filled
my god.
with
Oh my god.
newsletters.
For sure. Like that's the first I do when I wake up is like, okay, let's start archiving.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I'm an avid course taker. I'm constantly taking courses as well. So I've got my inbox like tons and tons and tons of newsletters. Even if I unsubscribe, somehow I get subscribed again. It's magic. It's,
I mean, I think part of it is that a lot of them do like referral based marketing,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So it's like, check out my friend Mike's music licensing course. Check out my friend Bree's songwriting
Yeah,
course.
yeah, 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 yeah. Ah, so time has come for me to ask you about your project, Vote Like a Woman. What's that about?
Okay, so um I have been like volunteering with this group or working with this activist group called Ladies of the Resistance for 2017. And that was just like like that emerged out of like a huddle group after the women's march, after that very first women's march in 2017. And then I joined their group when I moved to San Francisco because I was looking to make new friends, and I've always been into social justice stuff. So I found this awesome group of women who were kind of like more my age. A lot of the activism community is older because people have more time when they're retired. So this was a group of women my age, and I was like, "This is great." It's like socializing plus activism. I'm in, and so we worked to like try to flip one of the districts in California from Republican to Democrat in the 2018 midterm elections. That was our main goal, and then we started collaborating with a couple of the other more entrenched, longer serving activist groups in the Bay Area called Sister District and Swing Left. And two of the women, these two women came to us because they wanted their help with a project they had come up with, because this year is the centennial anniversary of women in the United States having the right to vote. So that amendment to the Constitution giving women the right to vote was
Mhm.
100 years ago, and they wanted to use that uh, as part of like a public relations campaign to help encourage more people to register to vote. And so they thought, let's focus on women
Mhm.
since it's this centennial anniversary, and see how many of the like 1 in 3 women in the US is not registered to vote. So the goal was like try to get everyone registered to vote. And obviously that's a tall order, but that was the larger mission statement.
Yeah.
So we've just been working on ads for Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, mostly Snapchat and Instagram. We have an amazing team of designers. I guess because it's the Bay Area, like half of the group is, also a designer at Airbnb or another tech company. So they've done a really great job of creating the website and making beautiful posts and that kind of thing. And then also the like design association AIGA San Francisco just started a partnership with us. And so yeah, like that we've been posting ads to try to get women to register, and you flip up or swipe whatever way you swipe on Snapchat, and then it takes you to your whatever state you're in. It takes you to that registration site so that you can register to vote. So that's just been the main focus of that, because and then just fundraising efforts, everyone just reaching out to people they know, asking them to donate money to fund these ads.
Like the Australians would say, good on you, mate.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how I came up with that right now, but anyway, good on you, mate. Keep it going. Well done. So I'm curious to hear the song that you're going to play for us today, called The Secrets of Girls. And before you do, can you please tell me how this song came about, what it's about?
So this song came about. I was living in Montreal, yet another place that I have lived. Um, it was a while ago now, many years ago. And I was teaching English as a second language in Montreal to international students. And we were watching Twilight, or I think it was Twilight,
Mhm.
as like part of what you do is you do like listening exercises. So
Yeah.
you watch a movie and try to understand. Um, and so I ended up seeing this whole Twilight movie and being really struck by it, and the allure of this vampire character, and um, just like the metaphor of of like girls all over the world being drawn to this dark man who like was torn between desire and wanting to kill them,
Right.
seemed like this real metaphor for like the narcissistic lover. and and it just made me think about how many women, I mean not all, some are quite sane, have been conditioned, have been like conditioned by the stories that we tell in our pop culture and in our myths to sort of want this like toxic, poisonous love,
Mm.
and just wondering if we didn't live in such a patriarchy, and if we had a history where women's contributions and understandings of the world and um, ways of perceiving were more honored, if that would be if that wouldn't if that would change our desire. I feel like it's a thing that happens when you're young. It definitely happened to me. I definitely had like a series of boyfriends who were really like toxic, and I couldn't figure out like why I was drawn to these people or what was going on.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that's sort of what it's about, like the way that the lost women's history like has affected our collective psychology, and reclaiming our true selves and our true desire.
Yeah, well, this is fascinating. I actually really get what you're saying, and I've often asked myself the same question. Also, I had a similar problem, and not anymore, thank God for that. But it took a lot to get away from that, and really convince myself that somebody who's good can be attractive. And I wonder, whether that's like I used to think maybe it was my problem, but it's not just my problem. There's plenty of people with this problem, and partly might be your personal history, but yeah, I wonder how much of it is actually cultural as well.
Yeah, and then I think our personal history is based in the culture, you know?
Well, it's totally interconnected. Okay, now please take it away. I really want to hear it.
Don't expect me to know what's normal. Don't expect me to know what's right. Don't expect me to know what's decent. I've been fed your fantasies all my life. The secrets of girls nobody knows, hidden under centuries of snow, shuttered and shaken, torn up and sold, jigsaw pieces strewn about the cold. All that got lost, all that was not carefully collected in that jewelry box, and all I'm left is pieces of what I might love. I see pictures of ravens, but they tell me they're doves. The secrets of girls nobody knows, hidden under centuries of snow, shuttered and shaken, torn up and sold, jigsaw pieces strewn about the cold. Spanish dancing, red wine, cobblestones, lamplight, long gazes and helpless cries. Music and you in the night, music and you in the night. The secrets of girls nobody knows, hidden under centuries Centuries of snow, shattered and shaken, torn up and sold. Jigsaw pieces strewn about the pole. The secrets of girls nobody knows, hidden under centuries of snow, shattered and shaken, torn up and sold. Jigsaw pieces strewn about the cold. So it's not that easy. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. Oh, but we know what we love. We know what we love. Oh, we know what we love. We know what we love.
Thank you for that beautiful song. And if our audience wants to listen to more of your songs, so they should just go on Spotify, or is there any other place they should go?
Apple Music, Spotify, if they want to like make a donation or buy it from my website, elaine.ryan.ca.
You know, I've learned a lot in this interview, a heck of a lot about syncing, but a lot more besides. You gave me so many brilliant ideas, so I really want to thank you for this, for your time.
Lovely to talk to you.
That was my guest, whom I'd like to thank once again for coming to the show. Every week I'll be chatting to fantastic indie performers to uncover what it really takes to be a female independent singer-songwriter in this day and age, and how we can support one another to keep shining our light onto the world through our creative endeavors. So make sure you don't miss out by subscribing to Dare to Be Seen, and follow us on socials at tinyurl.com/daretobeseenpod.
That's all for this episode of Dare to Be Seen. Join the conversation on facebook.com/groups/Dare to Be Seen podcast, and help create an empowering community of independent female singer-songwriters who support one another. For show notes, resources, and information on today's episode, visit tinyurl.com/daretobeseenpod. And remember to shine your own unique light onto the world. It needs it.